Welcome back to Cards and Comics. With the price of grading so far down compared to what it was a year ago, I've been going through my collections trying to see what cards do I want to send in for grading. And one of the biggest collections I have that I haven't talked about too much outside of Ken Griffey Jr. is my raw 90s and early 2000s inserts and autograph collection. Now, with the price of grading going, I get it, like I said, so far down, it makes sense now to grade some of these cards where a year ago it really didn't. And with PSA not upcharging every order that I've seen lately, it also makes sense from that perspective to maybe get some of these cards graded because, again, PSA isn't just upcharging every card if it grades a 10, which I was a little bit afraid of after that one order back in earlier this year where they upcharged me over $100 per card. Now, will I grade every card that I'm going to show? No. What I'm going to show is just cards that I'm interested in grading eventually. And I'm sorting them through, and I'm going to split the video into two parts. One part's going to be just the Ken Griffey Jr. raw cards because that's a huge part of my collection. Some of those cards I have shown, but a lot of them are cards I've never really talked about or showed on the channel. And then, the first video is going to be focused on Jeter, Frank Thomas, and all the other players from the 90s. Now, I also have 90s football cards I've never sent in for grading as well, like 90s refractors, a lot of Barry Sanders cards. So, I might actually do that as well and do a separate raw 90s football video as well. I'm going to start here in the baseball. I'm going to start with autographs. So the first up is 3 autographs, all from 1999, 2001, and 2002. So this is 99, 2001, 2002. This is, Archives. This is the Refractor 62 top Julie Mays auto, and then you can see the auto is very nice. This is 2001 Team Legends, 73 tops, and again, very nice auto. And then this is 1999 Stadium Club co-signers, and you got Jeter and Scott Rowland. Now, this one I probably won't get graded because you see the Jeter autograph goes off the card. So this one definitely would get a hit on the auto side of it. But these 2 Mays cards definitely are something that I would look at getting graded because, again, in the future when you look to trade or sell cards, unfortunately the autograph grade isn't the number one thing. Even though to me the auto is the most important part of these cards. The letter or the number grade of the card itself, if it was a PSA 10, it's going to drive a lot of value. I do have that 99 Sp Griffey Autograph that's got a 10, and I've had many people offer me on that card, the SP Signature Griffey from 99. So I understand that the 10 is is a drug for a lot of the registry guys and Griffey collectors. So I'm assuming the same is going to be true for Willie Mays and other players. Now, next up is going to be my non-Griffey Frank Thomas or Derek Jeter card. So these are just cool cards that I've collected over the years from the 90s and early 2000s. Centurion, Finest. This is the Refractor. And so this is, I know it's Move On, but they're numbered out of 75 and they're just really cool. Again, double-sided refractors. So I think Centurion are just cool cards. And so this is kind of one of those things I wanted to eventually get is, the Griffey and the Frank Thomas, but I don't have them yet. But I was able to get, a Centurion Move On. I probably won't get it graded, but I do think there's a market for some of these really rare 90s inserts, even if they're players who aren't Hall of Famers. Next up is the Thunder. This is the Thunder version of the Rave. And so here you go. Number to 150, Edgar Winter. I think Winter has an actual shot at the Hall of Fame at some point. He was a very good player for a long time. And so he might get in, maybe on a veterans committee or something like that, because he was a very good player for a while. And so won some World Series. So I feel like he's a player that might get some later love. But very cool. This is what the design that the current Marvel metal Z-Force, I think, took some of the design from. And so, again, the Raves are just cool. Again, numbered out of 150. And then the second one I got is the Circuit Ray, which is kind of the OG Rave. I got Wade Boggs. And Wade Boggs is a Hall of Famer. And a lot of people like Wade Boggs. So, and again, you see the purple foil, which is the Rave color at this point. And number 3 of 150. I don't even know what Boggs' uniform number was, if that's even close. But you can see what I paid for back in the day. $10. So I do think... I think it's worth more than $10. Is it worth getting graded? That's a question. It's something I want people to put in the comments. If you see a card here you think I should grade, let me know. And let me know why. Because, I'm going to focus on Griffey and Frank Thomas and Jeter at first as I go through the cards. But there's something in here you're like, man, if you get that graded and it comes back a 9 or a 10, you're going to make a lot of money if I don't know about it. Because I've looked all these cards up in price. A lot of them are rare and you don't see prices on them at all. Or if you need it, let me know. We can work out a deal. I can just sell you the card and you can get it graded if you need one of these players, because these are not my core players. These are just cards I picked up over time. Next up is the 97 Finest Gold Emboss Greg Maddux. This is not the refractor. This is just the gold emboss. You can see the embossing there. You can see on the back it'll say rare. It'll focus. There we go. Rare. You can see the indent of the card in the back. These were like 1 in every 3 boxes. So they're pretty tough. And they don't get the respect they deserve, because this is what happens with parallels, right? In the refractor version, this card has taken up all the money that these cards are actually really hard to hit, but no one cares about them. Hell, the Griffey sometimes sells for under $100. So it's really crazy that, this really rare card of Maddux that looks really cool in die cut, it's probably worth like $10 or $15. So is it worth getting graded? I don't know. They're hard to grade. It's in this big holder because they don't fit into a lot of holders, because 97 Finest were cut big when they die cut them. So they actually sometimes don't even fit into normal size holders like 1-screws or 1-touches. Next up is a Crusade I've had for a little while. 98 Crusade. It's the Glavine, Tom Glavine green. And again, these are numbered to 250. And I have like Barry Larkin, Deion Sanders as well. So I have some nice Crusades I've picked up over the time. So maybe I'll get one of those graded. But again, you can see this is numbered out of 250. So it's these are just some of the nicer cards ever made in the 90s, in my opinion. And the Crusades are just gorgeous design and very, very shiny and refractory. Next up is 94 Flair, Greg Maddux. There is the Hot Gloves, one of the first super iconic insert sets that you remember. You had Donruss Elite cards, but then this came out and just looked really, really cool. People love this set, the color, that orange color, and the die cut. So, these cards are very popular. They, sell quite a bit, but they're not overly rare. I mean, you can find them fairly easily, but in high grade condition like PSA 10, they are worth some money. So, next 2 cards up are cards I did showcase on my Instagram recently. It's the Linchpins Mike Piazza. Very cool. You can see the laser die cut in these cards. And then next up is the Cal Ripken Linchpens again. So I have 4 Linchpens. I have the Griffey, the Thomas, the Ripken, and the Piazza. And so, maybe I just, that's almost half the set. Maybe I can get the other players and just make the whole set and then grade them on. Put on the set registry and have the best set registry possible. I don't know. That's what I used to think. Like, hey, just grade them all, put them on the set registry and have a complete set. But that's not I'm not as into that as I used to be. But you never know. But if anyone thinks those cards should be graded, let me know in the comments. Next up is, again, this is the Derek Jeter. This is the base card. So what you got to look on these cards, first of all, look on the back. So look at the number. Like if it has BP on it, or, that's like Bowman Preview. The preview refractors confuse a lot of people. So Topps would do this thing where they would like pit the preview refractors in like another product like Bowman or Bowman Chrome. And you'd pull like, oh, I've got a Bowman's Best, atomic refractor of Derek Jeter, and it's the preview refractor, which is much easier to pull. This is the actual atomic refractor from the set. That's much harder to pull. Again, this year is, I think it's first year. So they didn't number them like they did in later years. And of course, if this was numbered out of 100 or like those later years, like 98 was, this would be worth a ton of money. It's not, so I'm not sure exactly what that's worth. But it's a cool card. It's Atomic Refractor. Next up is the 98 Jeter Refractor. This is the best performers. So this is like a parallel from that set. And you can see these are numbered out of 400. So the regular refractors in 98 were 400 and the atomics were the 100. So this is numbered, and I think it's worth some money. I just don't know how much. And but to me, eventually it'll get graded one day because it's a cool refractor. Now this is EX 2000, and I'm trying to think what year this is. Always get these years mixed up. So this is 1999. This is like EX 2000, I think. See right there. Hard to see sometimes. But you can see it's Skybox, EX. Oh, sorry, it's EX Century. And so this is the Milestones insert set, or Milestone. Yeah, it's a Milestone insert set, so it's number 9 to 10 of the Milestones. Milestone Century cards had parallels again. And so this is the, you can see it right here. It's numbered out of, sorry, I got upside down. It's numbered 35 of 114. So again, this is like the, parallel version, numbered out of 114, and you can see. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a Jeter card. It's low numbered. It's for 1999. Eventually, this card should be worth something. So this is, again, the credentials version. I think that's the parallel that it's supposed to be. It doesn't say anywhere on this is where things get very tough for cards in the 90s when they didn't actually say, like, it doesn't say EX Century Credentials, Essential Credentials. It says, it's an insert. So it kind of falls down the rabbit hole of like it's an insert versus the base card. It's still an Essential Credentials. It's still got the cool foily or shiny foil on it, but it's numbered out of 114. But it's not a huge card. I mean, it's not $1,000 Jeter card, but it's kind of a cool card. First year Prism green, so they had very few parallels back in 2012. So it's a cool color. I think it's I've got the die cut I think as well. So I just think these are early Prism cards, and they could have some popularity in the future. Just not right now. I mean, right now they're just a little cheap. Now here's the 95 Finest. That was one of the answers to my trivia question in my videos. I pulled this out of a box of Update, and you can see it's highly off center, left to right. However, I pulled it out of a pack, so I'm gonna get this graded just to get the 90C or the 80C, or whatever it's gonna grade, just to have it in my collection as a graded card, because it's just something I pulled on the channel. Perfect center back. Horrible off center, and these were very common to be off center. 95 Finest are probably the worst centered finest cards ever made. That's why getting a PSA 10 of any of the big players is expensive. Here's a 93 Topps Gold, Derek Jeter. So this is a parallel of his rookie card. So this again might be worth getting graded. This one is not. I don't think it's going to grade higher than a PSA 8. I think this corner up here is got some damage to it. So I'm not sure it's worth sending it in if it's a PSA 8. But again, it's a parallel of this rookie card, and it's worth some money. So just one of those cards I'm going to throw out there. And then here is 97 Pinnacle. When they did the artist proofs as gold, silver, and bronze. And here is the Gold Jeter, and it looks amazing. It's a beautiful card. I might just send this in because it's such a pretty card. It's just one of those really cool 90s inserts that people don't talk about too much anymore, because I don't think people realize how tough these were to get, these artist proofs. So that's Jeter, and my base cards, or my let's say PC cards. Here's Frank Thomas. Now, I've showed this cards off before, so here is my Crusade. So these are going to go. The Crusades are going to go. I have to get them graded, even if they get a 6 or 7 for some cards, No, I don't think this card's going to 6 or 7. This is a very nice card. It's probably the nicest card I have. That's a high-end Frank Thomas. So I think that card's got a lot of potential. The purple, again, numbered out of 100. This has a little bit of a weirdness up here in this top corner. You see it's a little cloudy. I don't know if that's just something like a printing defect or whatever happened up there in that top corner. So I don't know how they're going to grade this card. So we shall see. I'm a little nervous about it, but it's such a cool card. I'm going to get it graded anyway. Here's the established. This came out of a pro holder. I measured it, compared it to other cards from the set. It measures fine. I don't know, like all these cards from Skybox and Fleer, at the time, these thicker cards that were kind of metal, they had this thing where when they cut them, do you see that little ridge right at the top where the card is cut? And they did that. It's not like a rolled edge, but it's just like when they cut them, these cards are thicker, and they kind of have, where the blade went in and kind of created a little bit of a ridge. I don't know if that's going to be a problem for the grading or not. But this card is such a beautiful card, and I'll show you the back, as a lot of people don't know the backs are refractory as well. Probably one of the nicer insert sets ever made. A lot of people think it is the nicest set ever made from the 90s. They sell like they are. These cards are worth a ton. So that's got to go as well because, again, it's such a great card. Topps Chrome, Star Power. I'm going to say these are it's 2016. And again, Star Power was like a parallel from 96 Chrome. So, this isn't worth a ton, so I don't know if I'm going to sit it in round one. It's just a cool a cool parallel from early Topps Chrome, and it's very shiny. Next up is the green Frank Thomas Artist Proof from 97 New Pinnacle. These were rare, so the greens were the hardest to pull. And I feel like it's super undervalued, but again, value-wise, I'm not sure this would be $100 card. If it comes back a PSA 10, I think it could be, $150, $200 maybe. Right now, because just Thomas prices aren't extraordinarily high right now for these like compared to like the established, this insert or this card is not as well known. This is like, a card that people are chasing that just want to put together a whole set. This card is just kind of like for the Thomas collectors and people who love hard to get 90s parallels. So I think it's going to get graded eventually, but it's just a cool card. Next up is a Frank Thomas, and this is the non-protector. So you can always tell the 98 Finest refractors if they're non-protectors because of the refractor back. Now, I will say this, as compared to Griffey, I looked at some Griffey prices on this card. These non-protectors are a lot harder to get in terms of grading, and the 10s are a lot more expensive. So this is a card that you would get graded if you thought it had a shot at a 10, because the price dip between this card and the regular refractor is pretty high. So this is I got to look at this card, make sure it doesn't have a lot of scratches or something that would just ding it down to an 8. If it comes back at 9, it's probably an $80 to $100 card as a 9. Maybe $60 to $80, $100 max, As a 10, it could be, a $200 card if a 10, because I think the pop count is pretty low. Just really cool card. Now, next up is I pulled this on my channel, so this came out of a box break. This is, I believe, 98 Bowman's Best. And it is, or maybe it's 97. Maybe 97, sorry. But this is Bowman's Best Atomic Refractor Mirror Image. Again, the one that people are chasing are the inverted ones where you've got the prospect in the big photo and the vet in the small photo. Griffey just sold for over $500, the inverted version. So the inverted versions are worth chasing. If you're going to open cheap wax, this would be a great wax to open, looking for those inverted versions, which are really rare. But if you hit one, you're going to, if you hit one and it's a good player, you're going to get some good money for them, because the player collectors are figured out that those are exceedingly rare and hard to get. So this card isn't really worth a whole lot. I'm going to say $40 to $50 max. Even a graded 9 or 10, it's going to be hard to break $100 because, again, it's Frank Thomas, and this insert set just isn't that popular. It's an Atomic Refractor, but it's just not overwhelmingly popular. Now, Zenith. This is one of the nicest looking cards. These Z Team cards. These are super nice. They made them in football. They made them in baseball. This is from 19. Look at it here. sorry, from 2005. So this is kind of breaks the rule a bit, kind of mid-year 2000, but this is 2005 Z teams, and man, they are super nice. They get the defects. This is right before the bankruptcy and everything kind of stopped with Zenith and Pinnacle. But man, this is like a really nice insert. The Tom Brady just sold like this for a lot of money. Again, I don't have the Griffey version. I think I have the silver version of this. So the silver is not numbered as high. I think maybe 250, but the golds are numbered at 50. You can see it right there. I just think it's a really cool insert. And if I think it could 10, I might grade it one of these days. I don't think it'll be in round 1. Now this will be in round 1. I'm definitely going to probably send this in with my next submission. This is the Linchpins Frank Thomas, one of the nicer insert sets of all time. I've got the Griffey Raw, I've got the Thomas Raw, so I'll probably send them in as a pair. Again, you saw some other Linchpins I showed, so I've got 4 of the 10 cards in the set, all of them raw, so I will need to send that in. Here's another card that I should probably send in as long as it's okay. This is the Rave Review, one of the cooler insert sets. This and Mother Lode, the second year Mother Lode, not the first year. I think first year was 96. I think the second year Mother Lode, 97 or 98, was the cool insert die cut. This is a Rave Review, just cool looking die cuts. Really cool. It's hard to really say anything negative about the Rave Reviews. I don't have the Griffey, or I would send that in for sure. But I'm definitely want to get this graded eventually because it's one of the cooler 90s inserts in terms of die cuts and just all around just etched foil. You can see that etched foil, cool die cut, just one of the iconic 90s inserts. And again, let's just call it like it is. All this retro stuff going on, and they've never redone that insert. It just shows like cards that actually take some effort and time to make. They just have no interest in recreating them, just like Linchpins. Just kind of annoying. Sterling. So this is from 96 Finest, I believe. Yep, 96 Finest. And I think the Sterlings are the nicest looking base card that's in there, or design. So this is the Frank Thomas. These sell pretty well. I'll eventually get this graded. It's a very nice copy. It's the peel on. It's a little tougher, so I'll eventually get that graded, but it's not worth a whole ton, but it's just a cool card. And last but not least, my gold Intimidators. Again, this is from 1996. Finest. It is the gold refractor. Now, it's got something going on right here. Again, just like with that Donner's Crusade, it looks like something in the printing process, or maybe the card got damaged. I don't think it's damaged. I think what it looks like to be is where some of the layers of the card either got oxidized, it's oxidation, or it started peeling up a little bit. I don't know. I'm going to see if it's something that just is, maybe it's just a smudge from like a like a penny sleeve. I guess a moisture in the card, between the card and the penny sleeve. It could be lots of things. I'm going to see. I don't know. Maybe I can pantyhose it off. If I can't, then I probably won't get it graded. It's just a really cool looking card. I didn't pay a ton for it because that little smudge on the top. But if I can get that off, I'll probably get this graded because I have the Griffey as well. And again, it's the rare gold refractor. So a lot of people love this card, and it's just a beautiful card. And I didn't pay a whole lot, so even if I don't get it graded, if I can't get that little smudge off, then I'll just keep it raw, and I'll be in the set. So that is part 1 of the video. So I went through Jeter, Thomas, all my other non-PC guys. Again, leave me a note in the comments which ones you like the best, which ones you think I should send in for grading. And we'll go from there, because I don't want to just send all my Griffey cards, because I got a giant piles of Griffey cards. But I like to have a little bit more diversity in that. I'll send in a few Thomas cards, a few Griffey cards. If you see something else you want me to send in, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time on Cards and Comics. Bye.